Hi guys, welcome back to the channel Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. Today we're going to be working on this little lawnmower right here. This has been sitting in the stash for a long time. My zero turn broke. While I was waiting to fix it to get parts, I threw a carb clean on this and put a new gaskets in the carb, and I got it to start and run, but it won't come up to idle. It won't come up to speed. It's got very low RPMs. I've messed with the carb adjustment. There's not a whole lot to these little machines. I used it actually twice to cut my yard, and I barely kept it going. And if you went too fast and the grass was bogging down the mower, it didn't even take much. The grass wasn't even long, and it still bogged down the mower and killed it a few times. So I have a feeling that it is a blown head gasket, because there's not much else on here, and I'm not really willing to do much else to this thing. So while I was at the parts house the other day, I picked up a head gasket for it. I have checked compression on it. Let me see if I can show you what it's doing. Please subscribe. Oh, it's out of fuel. Let me fix that. And let's try this again. Now you want to be a pain in my dick. You saw it just started up. I don't know why it stopped. You saw it just start quickly and easily. It didn't run great. It was out of fuel. Now it's got fuel. Now it won't start. I'm not pulling my brains out on this damn thing. So I'm gonna pop the head off. I'm gonna look at the head gasket and show you what it looks like. All right, in the interest of quickness for you, I took out the screws on the top that hold down the cover. So we're going to take that off and move it out of the way. I took out the screw that holds on the air cleaner, so we're going to move that out of the way. Now I've got to remove this top case. On these, your oil fill comes out. It's attached to the case. You can take that and drop it out of the way. Now I've got to take out one bolt from the fuel tank. I have to take out the spark plug, which I already loosened because I did a compression test and it was 60 psi. So now that's out of the way. Now I'm just going to zip off the head, because if it's not a blown head gasket, I'm not putting anything else into this at the moment. He needs a mower to cut his grass, my neighbor does, and I have too many other projects going on right now. So I'll have to put this back together and stick it over to the side. It's got a nice body on it. Everything else is good, and I'll fix it later. Now we're going to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts. That one felt loose. That one felt loose. It may not be a bad gasket. This thing might not have been tight. But who knows? All these bolts are the same length, same size. I have to take off my spring from my carburetor because this plate is going to come off. It's got a hook on one side and a spring clip on the top, so remember how you took it off. Yep. There's my head gasket. It was stuck to the motor, so it popped free. I don't see, let me, the cylinder is nice and smooth. I don't see any kind of scoring or anything that shouldn't be there. I see a lot of carbon here and here. But I don't see or feel anything out of place. This head gasket does not look blown. Usually you would be able to see it if it was, but it looks like it's all one piece. There's no cracks or anything in it. Well, that's disappointing, but okay. I'm going to take a couple of minutes and I'm going to clean up my valves. The intake's opening and the exhaust is opening. So I don't have a stuck valve. I don't have anything like that. That's pretty much all there is to these little machines. If you can spin that by hand and you can see that your piston is going in and out, I don't see it. It's not moving up or down when I put pressure on it. Maybe a touch side to side, but that's okay. It's not moving or wobbly in there. Both my valves are opening. That's open, closed, open, and closed. As long as all that's moving and you don't have a lot of carbon in there stopping it from sealing for some reason, there's not really much else you can check. I mean, you could pull it apart and get to the valves, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to clean up these surfaces. I'm going to clean up behind here, make sure there's nothing behind it, but it doesn't look like it. I'm just going to use some brake clean and a brush, clean all this up, clean up the surfaces. I'm going to put the new head gasket on, which is just as easy as taking it off. Make sure you line it up correctly. We have decided to put a new shop up in the next 4 to 6 weeks, maybe less. So I will now have interior space to work, a little bit larger than a single car garage is being put back here with overhead lighting and everything on the inside, so I can film at night, so I can make more freaking videos and get stuff done. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna get this all cleaned up. You don't have to watch this. I'm gonna leave the camera roll and I'll fast forward it so you can see it, but you don't have to watch it. I will say this, there was a lot of oil right here and here, which really shouldn't be there. It seems like it was sort of blowing by in a place where it wasn't supposed to. This is kind of wet oil down here where this is dry. And this is the side that I said loose. This bolt felt loose, this bolt felt loose, this bolt felt loose. So I'm thinking it wasn't a blown head gasket, but that the head itself started to loosen up, and that way it lost a little bit of compression. But I won't know till I get it back together. You see how we got this same wet spot here? The rest of this is kind of dry, and we got this dark wet spot in this corner. I think this head was loosening up on its bolts, and it was losing compression, which happens in these old motors. I got this from a scrapper over a year ago. It's been sitting in the road, it's been sitting in the yard. Who knows how long it had broke down before the scrapper got a hold of it and brought it to me as part of a group. So you never know. The person that owned this might have never done any kind of maintenance on it, and the head bolts just kind of vibrated and loosened themselves up a little, but we'll know soon. Old sock. What do you use your old socks for? In case you're looking, that's your rotary part number 23-1482 for a head gasket for these little Briggs. This is a 5.550 series. You get the numbers off of your cover here. That top metal cover that we took off with the pull cord on it, they're usually stamped right in the front of that. And I do have a video on my channel of how to look up parts for any machine easily and quickly. Now these only go on one way. You'll find that the bolt pattern only lines up one way. If you try to put it upside down or something, then the bolts aren't going to line up. So make sure you line it up right. Once you have it lined up, like I said, take a bolt. You can take 2 bolts if your fingers will work well enough for you. See, even this bolt is nice and dry, and these bolts are soaking wet with oil. And there's 3 of them like that. Just coated in oil, soaking wet, not dry like the rest. I think this thing was loose. So for a $3.50 I think I paid for this head gasket, we found the problem. Put 2 bolts in, don't drop one in the grass like I just did. Now I've got 2 bolts, so I know my gasket can't move. Line up your bolts, start them by hand. Oops, I didn't put my plate back on, which I will do now. Now do what I say, not what I do. Make sure that when you're working on your machine at home, that you look up the torque specs. Make sure when you put this plate back on, your spring lever's over here. It's not a lever, it's just a catch for your spring. And this side was bent, remember? So we're gonna line up these holes, put this back in. Do what I say, not what I do. Look up your machine, find out the torque specs for every bolt that you play with. Let me get my torque wrench. I'm just tightening them down until they make contact. This is still a head. And you don't want to bend it or warp it. Now that they're all tight, I'm going to go in the middle, then I'm going to work my way on the outside with my torque wrench. Oops. Forgot one. Now none of those felt stripped out in any way. So these 3 bolts being loose just was normal wear over the years. Nothing is stripped out, nothing was cross-threaded, everything went in the way it was supposed to. I'm going to put my bolt back into my gas tank if I got the right one. I'm going to put my spark plug back in. Spark plug's got a little bit of dirt on it, a little bit of oil. Gap looks fine. Sometimes when you put spark in, you'll get weak spark if the gap is closed too much or open too much, so just double check it. I've been doing this a long time. I usually know when they look okay. And spark was not the issue on this beast. It was not coming up to full power and bogging down when I used it. So we put this back on. Put our spark plug back on, spark plug boot. We put our spring back on. There's no setting on this, it just goes on the end of the hook. If you need to adjust it, you can pull the spring apart more, or you can take a pair of pliers and bend this little tab right here. The more forward it goes, the more RPMs you get. Top back on. When you put your top on, take your top off. Any ladies out there, take your top off. Make sure that your oil dipstick goes into the oil dipstick hole. Don't worry, you can't miss it, it's huge. That's what she said. Now, it started on camera, you saw that, then I couldn't get it to start. That's usually a carb issue, but I know I just rebuilt this carb last week, or the week before that. But I might have to rebuild it again. It's just a little gasket kit. They cost like $2. No big deal. Put this back down, put your screws back in it. Alright, let's see if she'll start. Give it a couple of primes. My air filter box is loose because I didn't put it on the right way, and I got to get an air filter for it anyway, so it's not important. Just see if she'll start and come up to idle speed. Doesn't want to come up to speed still. Well, I can still hear it missing. It is a 25-year-old push mower. I don't feel that it's coming fully up to RPMs. However, that's probably 4 times as good as it was before I put the new head gasket in and tightened it down. I wasn't able to push more than a very slow counted walking speed. And if the grass was any taller than it is now, which it was, it would bog down the motor and it would make it stall. kind of like if you're trying to cut knee-high grass. That's what it was acting like. So now you just saw me be able to make full speed swats back and forth a couple of times. It didn't bog down and it didn't stall under its own weight. So that's probably the best I can do with this thing, being that it's not worth much. If you were to sell this on Facebook, you might could get 30 or 40 bucks for it. I could definitely cut my grass with it for, well, it's the end of the season, so there won't be any more cutting grass. But the neighbor will get some years out of it. And I'll have him use it a time or two and see if it gets any better. It's, to my knowledge, to my feeling, the way I look at it, it's not 100%, but it is running. He'll be able to cut his grass, so I'm going to call that a win. Let me know what you think in the comments. If there's something else I can do, please let me know. I probably could check on the valves, but I'm not going to. The valve springs, I mean. But other than that, there's not really much I can do. There's no real adjustment for the governor, anything like that. That's all internal. There's not a whole lot of that you can do. And there's no adjustments on the carburetor. It's a straight, either runs or it doesn't. And I put in all new gasket set in the carburetor. So anyway, enough of me rambling. Thanks for 5.5 million views on my last short. Thank you for the 6,000 new subscribers we got this month. Thank you for all of you who watched this far. Hit the like button, it helps me grow. Hit the subscribe button, it's somewhere between my chin and my balls, and I'll see you soon.